What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. That's right, a lot of people were interested after my initial video to join the game, and I've been actually keeping in contact with you guys through the comment section and Discord. So today, guys, I want to talk about some of the tips and tricks you should know when playing the games. There's a lot of quality of life things that the game doesn't explain or talk about, and being in the beta and now playing on live production server for quite some time, I want to give you guys and impart some of that knowledge to you to make your life a lot easier. So let's get into the video, guys. We're going to start off with how to choose your server first. Alright, ladies and gents, we're back here. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to pick your server. A lot of people don't know how to do this, and the comment section has been blowing up about that, as well as my Discord. So the way to choose a server, if you want to play with people that you know or people you may have made friends with along the way, or if you want to just pick your own server from the beginning, whether you want to play on an OG server or a brand new server, the way you do it, guys, is when you log into the screen, it's going to make you want to press the start button, because that's clearly what it says under the ring, and it is very precious, and you want to click it, but don't press anything. Click on this down list here, little drop down, and you're going to see a little world icon, a globe, right? Click the globe, and then from there you can actually choose your server. So make sure, guys, if you are looking to play with certain individuals, this is where you go. So for example, I am on 106 special, so if you're looking to play with my warband, which is essentially an alliance, this is where you want to join. If you want to start on a brand new server fresh, you go onto the season 1 section and you pick it, because if you don't, it won't allow you to choose your server. You'll have to log out and create another account. So make sure you do that first. So that's the first tip I want to talk about, okay, guys? So we're going to go ahead and choose the Payneblade server, and we're going to jump in. The next thing I want to cover while we're doing this is I want to talk about tiles. Now, when you start off the game, you're going to be in a small section of the map, and you're going to be surrounded by a ton of land, okay? And I want to explain how tiles work and what you are going to be doing as a brand new player or a veteran, and tips and tricks about tiles and what you want to focus on, okay? So let's get into that real quick as the game loads, and we'll talk a little bit about tiles. Alright, so as you can see here, this is the map. Alright, so the reason why I wanted to talk about tiles with you guys is because tiles brings in a ton of different things for you, and it is going to be the main way of expanding your kingdom, and is the main way of empowering your ring. So we're going to talk about tiles first, and then I'm going to talk about the ring of power. Then we're going to talk about commanders, units, and then we're going to discuss other different various things that make quality of life a lot easier. So the first thing I want to talk about, guys, again, is tiles. All right, so when you get in here first, you're going to go through an introduction video. You're going to summon a commander. Depending on which side you choose, a certain general will help you. It's either, I believe, Gandalf or Saruman, and then you will recruit yourself your first commander, and then you'll have an outfit, and then you'll jump into the fight. Once you complete that initial tutorial, you're going to have a little bit of hand holding, all right? But the one thing I want to talk about is how to advance past that hand holding and get, be independent on your own. So tiles, let's talk about that. So this is your castle. This is going to be your main keep, all right? Around you, you are surrounded with a ton of different people and empty space. So the empty spaces work like this. When you click on a tile, okay, you can only move up one direction, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that, okay? When you click on a tile, it'll tell you the power land. The power land essentially is the difficulty of the land, and how much, and also provides you how much ring power you're going to get per hour when you conquer it, as well as the number of armies that are defending that tile. So in this case, there's one, and then also the amount of resources you get per hour from that tile, and who can occupy it, whether it's a player, a warband, and faction, and there is a big difference between them, and we'll discuss those later, okay? So the first thing you do, guys, is when you click on a tile, especially as a brand new player, you want to build yourself a tile in a direction that will go to a certain piece of land that you want. So for example, let's say I wanted to get this 15 power land mountain, okay? In the beginning, if there's nobody nearby here, okay, and it's just all empty spaces, let's say this guy wasn't here, all right, you would have to go 1 tile, 2 tile, 3 tile to get to this one, or you can go 1, 2, 3, and you can go diagonally, okay? So you can attack on a diagonal motion and a vertical and a horizontal motion as well, okay? So keep that in mind when you're playing that. So as you're playing as a brand new character or a veteran, this is how you're going to collect tiles. As you collect those tiles, you're going to collect ring power, and ring power will give you power to boost up your ring, which unlocks a skill tree essentially, and we'll talk about the ring of power shortly. And outside of that, you also get your gathering abilities, right? And this is what you can gather. You can gather wood, stone, ore, and wheat or grains, okay? And then the land bonus, essentially, guys, is what is providing you through your land. So those are the tiles, okay? So tiles provide you land bonus. Structure bonus is the bonuses from your keep or other structures that you've taken over that provide you bonuses to your resources. Faction production is currently bugged, unfortunately, but when you occupy other faction keeps and other big structures, they will also provide you a certain faction bonus. Warband bonus also is certain areas in the game that will provide you this, and then the ring buff. So in the ring itself, you can actually buff your production for resources. So those are the different things you can do. So it is very important, guys, to play this game smart. Now, what I want to talk about though is you have a certain amount of territory up here that you can occupy before you have to either level up and move past the story or level up your ring in terms of the dominance feature, and we'll talk about that shortly. So this tile here says I have 148 pieces of land out of 156. When I hit 156, guys, I can no longer occupy tiles and land. I have to either delete the ones that I have or level up and get past the storyline or advance my ring power. So what you want to do in these cases, guys, here's a little tip. When you get to the point that you want to get to, let's just say I want to get to here, the 3 easy ones that I just occupied, okay, you want to actually click on this and press the X, okay? That will actually allow you to, in 30 minutes, get rid of that space and just occupy the one you want. Now here's the reason why. You actually don't need to have those tiles up to this point to get to this point once you get it. Once you occupy this tile, you can actually go directly from here to here as long as you have a spot there. Okay, so you actually don't need, it's not like Connect 4 where you need to connect the dots in order to get to a spot. You don't need to make a lane. The lane only needs to exist if there is a existing alliance tile, like somebody from your faction, or your tile in place. And let me show you what I'm talking about, guys. So let's say I want to get to this point right here, okay? Or even this point right here. Let's just say this point. So as you can see here, I have no tiles connected to it, but there are tiles from a faction member kicking around. So if I wanted to do that, that's no problem, because my keep, as long as there's one tile either horizontal, vertical, or diagonal to it, it's available to you, okay? So I'm gonna click on this and watch. If I click March, I'm allowed to go there. Okay, so you can see here, it actually allows me, it gives you a path to go there. So as a new player or a veteran, keep in mind, you don't need to build a swim lane, you can go to it. Now, there's a point where you can't do that, and that is when there's nothing connected to it. So if I want to march to this, you can see here it says there are no linked lands available. So do not waste your land tiles on weak land. Destroy the ones once you get what you want, and only try to occupy as much of the better lands and the ones you can handle with your armies, because it'll, number one, boost your power overall and give you more ring per hour power, and as well as resources. So that is the tip for land tiles. Another easy way to know what you own is if you click on this territory icon, it actually gives you the land overview. Now the land overview will show you the structures that you currently own, as well as all the tiles you have under specific power. So instead of hunting for all of them in the map, simply click on that, guys, go to the ones that you don't want anymore. Let's say I don't want the 30s or the ones, you click here and you go ahead and click on that, and that automatically will cancel it in 30 minutes. So that is something that a lot of people didn't know about, and I wanted to share that. All right, guys, that talks about land. Let's talk about ring power. Alright guys, we're back here again. Now the next thing I want to talk about is your Ring of Power. Now this is going to be a major part of the game, and you have to invest as much as you can into this because of the features that it offers, plus the skill tree and the resources that you can get from it. So the first thing you're going to do, guys, when you start the game is you're going to pick the way your ring looks. You're going to get to customize it and advance it, and we're going to talk about seasons and what the changes will be eventually, but your ring is going to be your go-to source of power for the most part of the game. Okay, so when you click on your ring, in the beginning, you're going to have essentially these 5 icons, all right? And I want to talk about what you need to level up first and why, okay? So we talked earlier about tiles and owning land and how much power you can gain from it, and the fact that resources play such a major part in this game, right? So the first thing you want to do, guys, when you start off this game is you want to use all of your Ring of Powers to max out as fast as you can the dominance portion. Don't branch out whatsoever. Dominance gives you territory limits, and those territory limits, guys, will increase your power substantially. So I think in the first one you can get it up to 3 before you can branch off, and then it asks you to get to a certain point in your ring power. So I think that's level 30. So guys, the first thing, please do this. Don't make the same mistake a lot of people make. Do not branch out to everything else here. Gain dominance completely maxed out as far as you can go until you have to change. Now, the second part, when you are going to start this game, you want to, in my opinion, focus on harvesting and resources. This is what's going to help you build your armies and upgrade your keep as fast as you possibly can. So this is the path that I go. We'll talk about commanders and what I recommend later, but resources are going to play such a major part in this game. So that's the second suggestion I have. Now another one, if you are going to be an aggressive player and you want to focus on your commanders, and I don't recommend this personally because I think it slows you down a little bit, is going through the sweeping phase, which means when you see enemies on, like NPC enemies on tiles, you can actually sweep them by fighting them, and that gives you experience points and grain plus some sort of item. This gives you a better way to gain experience and a faster way to kill them, as well as less stamina required. Or you can go the experience route and help yourself, help your commanders level up a little faster. And then lastly, the stamina control, which is probably the most important. So I would go with grains first after dominance, and then do this section next, and then it's up to you where you want to go, but definitely dominance number one, guys. Number two, resources. Number three, I would do this one here. Now the other part of the ring that's very important, guys, is the ability points. Now you're going to have a set amount of ability points, and I can show you on the screen where they are. They're right over here. Okay, so these ability points allow you to do certain things, and as you unlock these abilities through your ring power, you will have more things you can accomplish through the ring itself. Okay, so the ring of power allows you to do the following things. Number one, you can gather. Okay, so gathering means you send out a commander to gather a certain tile with resources in it for 30 minutes, and they bring back the resources for you. Okay, and that takes 3 uses to do that. Mock battle takes 1, and it's every 10 minutes. They're gone for 10 minutes, sorry. And mock battle essentially is you get to send out a commander with troops to any location. The higher the location, the more experience points you will get, the higher being more power in that location. So the higher the tile power, the more EXP you'll get with your commander. The beauty of this is you don't lose armies and you don't lose HP or anything. You just literally do a mock battle, that's why it's called that, and you come back with experience points. So it's a great way to level up your commander, but I don't recommend doing this until you're further in the 130s, 170s, and 200 tiles. Okay, you can build a fort, which is going to be your major way to travel. And guys, feel free to click on any of these. It actually gives you an explanation on what they do. Building a fort is a major part of this game and allows you to travel further past your travel zone, and we'll talk about that very shortly. Relocate allows you to actually take your entire fort and move it to another area completely if you don't like where you are, or if you want to relocate with your warband / fellowship or your fellow friends, this is the way to do it. Guard is a place where if somebody's attacking one of your tiles and you want to guard it, you bring somebody there and you can press the guard button, and then they'll actually confront your commanders in battle there, and it's a great way to save yourself some tiles. And then lastly, Long March. Long March is a big part of this game, and it's the way you're going to be traveling most of the time to get from one continent to another, and Long March allows you to actually forego a lot of the range limitations that this game offers. Now that is the major part of the ring. Now I want to really quickly talk about the minimap and range location. So I mentioned to you guys there's the yellow borders. If you look at the mini map right here, I have a ton of yellow borders. Now what forts do, because I talked about these, forts expand your borders. So right now in my main border here, you can see the circle right there. That would have been my limitation, but I actually went ahead and built a fort right in one of these spots. So I'm going to show you guys my fort right here. Now this fort is going to actually increase this limitation and give me another yellow. The reason that's so important, guys, is in this game you want to conquer land, right? We're going to be fighting this keep very soon. So in order to get to this keep right now, if you look at the mini map, I don't have a yellow border there, which means I actually can't get there. So if I want to attack it, guys, I'm out of range, right? Building forts allows you to go further into the game. You can actually bypass building forts once you get to level 25. If you can save yourself 10 ability points, you can actually go ahead and do Long March to one of your alliance members or warband members tiles and build a fort there. So those are the benefits of forts and Long March. It's very important, guys, to have in your repertoire, so do not sleep on that. Those are things you definitely want to focus on. All right, so as you can see here, I have a level up of 43. It says to unlock the next territory dominance ring, I need level 50. Because I don't have level 50, I'm going to continue giving it to my resource gathering, and we're going to continue there. All right, guys, that is the Ring of Power. Next up, we're going to talk about commanders. Stay tuned. Alright everybody, we're back here. Now I want to talk about commanders and what they are all about and what you want to do. So the first thing I want to say, guys, real quick is Commanders are your heroes essentially in the game. They're the ones that are going to lead your army to conquer, to save, whatever you want to do with them. They do gathering, they do battles, etc. I want to talk about commanders and what they're all about and what you want to focus on when you are building up a commander. The first thing I want to say, guys, there are many commanders in this game. All right, now they're broken up by tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 being the worst, tier 2 being middle, tier 3 being the quote-unquote legendary top ones. Okay, so what you want to do, guys, when you open up the commander field here is you want to look at a commander and what they're capable of. So one thing I want to talk about right away is their roles. Okay, so each commander has a role. So for example, the Witch King has a leadership role. If you get to level 20, you will unlock this role. It gives them bonus things like +5 command for him, which means he can command more armies. If you go to the Black Serpent, on the other hand, he's a strategist and a special unit. Strategist, when you get to level 20, give you 25 focus, +2 skills to use, and commander focus for poison and burn, +10% damage, right? And then there are people like warriors here, which get more might, physical skills, and etc. Right? So that's the first thing you want to focus on. You want to build around what kind of gameplay you want to do. All right, the second thing you want to do, guys, because there are so many cool looking commanders, you don't want to go more than 3 max. Now, 2 of them are going to be your army commanders, which means they will serve you in terms of conquering or, again, saving the land and fighting other tiles and enemies. And then the third one, in my opinion, you want to have is a gatherer. Now, I'm going to talk about the gatherer real quick. So in my case, she is the gatherer here. I have Grishnak, and I have a couple of gatherers. I have Grishnak, I have Sharku, and I have Yusra. Now, Yusra, for example, all my ability points have gone into specifically resource gathering. If you look at this, like, she's got everything unlocked here, but I haven't touched anything but resource gathering. Now, the way skills work is every 2 points you place into one of these major skills, you can put 1 into here. So in order for me to get this to 7, I need this to be at 15, okay? So the first thing is, take a look at what these guys do and how you want to play. She is a physical damage dealing unit that has the ability to buff evil men and orcs, and keep in mind, you actually don't have to like unlock this skill in order to get to this skill. Right? It's not a tree. You can actually choose whatever you want to choose. So resetting skills is very important for commanders. But remember, you want to have a gatherer, right? So this is my gather unit. Every time she gathers, she gets 18% more gather resources from that node rather than a regular unit or commander that will get none. So having a gatherer is very important. Another thing you want to do when you do have a gathering unit is give them a gathering plus accessory or equipment. So resources gathered is +8%. So that's very important, guys, because that adds on top of her 18, making it 26% gathering, which is quite a bit of extra yield every single time you use 3 ability points. All right, so that's my gatherer. Now, you're going to also have other commanders that are going to do certain things. So my main commander is going to be the Witch King. I have Black Serpent as my backup, and I have Sauron as my siege, as well as Grishna as my siege. Now, these units are all going to bring different things, and you have to focus on stats. Okay, so this command stat here actually allows you to command armies. The more you have, the more you can command. The less you have, the less you can command. Okay, so that's very important to keep in mind, guys. You can increase this command buff through building in the main hall, and we'll talk about that as well too later on. And then you want to look at stats. Somebody who is a warrior is going to have a lot of might. Might gives you additional bonus physical and damage to your enemies. Focus, on the other hand, is more of a magic dealing or poison or burn dealing damage dealer, as well as it actually provides less damage to your army, so it is a good defensive buff. And then speed is going to be how fast you march and your ability to attack first versus second in battle. So these are very important stats to note. So for example, the Witch King is a balanced leader. He has balance across every single stat, which makes him extremely powerful. But then you have somebody like the Black Serpent, whose main focus is going to be, no pun intended, focus, right? So you don't want to give him equipment for might, you actually want to give him equipment for focus. So for your commander, guys, you want to make sure you build equipment around the commander and what their specialties are, right? Another good way to check is, what is a strategist? He does give additional 25 focus. There's no might in there, so focus is going to be your main goal. So if you look at the equipment I have, focus is a big part of it, speed is a big part of it, and evil men, because he actually does give bonus to evil men, and he does give bonus to mount units in his actual skill tree, right? If you look at here, again, focus and evil men, focus and evil men. Now there's going to be times where you will get might. It's not a bad thing to have. Your soldiers will hit harder physically, but you as a commander won't hit as hard, right? And then of course you have the accessory here, which does some recovery and has speed and focus. So when you're building your commander, guys, make sure you build your commander based on their specialties. Okay, don't stray away. So like, for example, don't give Black Serpent might. Try to focus on more focus than giving him that, and also speed. All right, now remember, abilities, guys, do matter a lot. So every level you get on your commander, you will get yourself a ability point. You can place them either in one whole one, or you can place them in all of them like I have spread apart, and see what works best for you. Keep in mind, you can reset at any time, guys, if you use 20 gems to do so, and that does not increase. You can do that every single time. All right, guys, that is commander. So remember, 2 max army ones, 1 siege, 1 army, and then 1 gatherer for resources. That is my suggestion on commanders. We're going to talk about something else very soon that'll change the whole game for you, and I'm going to save that to last. But next up, guys, we're going to talk about the main hall and units. Alright, boys and girls, here we are. We're going to talk about the main hall. Now, your main keep, guys, has a lot of different things to it, and it's not going to look quite as heavy and busy as this in the beginning, but eventually it'll get there, right? So I want to talk about what you want to do. So first thing, gold levy. This is where you're going to get your gold. It happens every few hours, and you can max up to 5. So you can either go levy, which will give you the amount you see here, or you can pay 100 gems and get double that amount. So I'm going to go ahead and do the normal one. Make sure you're always on top of this, guys. Never let it get to 5 and stop. Try to get them as soon as they pop up, so you have the ability to use gold for various things. All right, the next place I want to talk about is the marketplace. Now, the marketplace allows you to buy resources, special speed up icons, and as well as allows you to barter. If you barter, you can actually spend your own high resources to get resources you're lacking. Now keep in mind, it starts off to a 10-to-5 ratio, which means it's 100-to-5. So you only get 50% back of what you spend. But as you increase the marketplace, that number will change. I believe the highest it goes to is 8. And so 80% back of what you spend. So this is a very important one though, guys, because if you have a land that is specifically stone heavy, for example, you can still get that land and trade it for things like wheat if you need it in terms of getting yourself more troops. So marketplace is a very important place to upgrade, guys, and should be one of the ones you focus on. All right, next up is the apothecary, and this is the place where a lot of the times your wounded will end up, and you actually can recover those soldiers by healing them. Okay, so this place is going to be used very heavily. The first little while, guys, you guys are going to get a bonus that actually doesn't allow 50% of your units to die as a new player. Take advantage of that. Try to conquer as much as you can with that, because you'll save yourself a ton of resources by doing so. But if you don't, a lot of the times your units will die, and then the ones that don't will end up here, and it does take time to heal them. And there is a cap of how much you can have, so try to stay on top of this, guys. It will require grain only. All right, keep that in mind. Now, army is the place where you can actually outfit your commanders. As you can see here, your commanders can equip other army members, and the way you outfit is you click on here, it can actually delete, let's say you don't want Urukai for her, you can take them away, and you can put Orkman instead. So it is a great way to boost up your power, and this is the place where you actually outfit your commander. So it's a very important part of the game, and you'll be spending a lot of time here, guys. So keep that in mind when you're playing this. All right, real quick, actually, while I'm doing this, there we go. Already boosted up the zappers. There we go. Now she's ready to go. All right, so let's take that away now. And then next up are the barracks. Now this is actually where you build your units or you hire your units. Now hire means there's certain requirements you have to meet in order to get these units. For example, I have to get a Mumakai camp in order to hire these, or a barrel white cave in order to hire these. And then there are the actual conscripts. Conscript is the ones you will hire. Now you can click on them to see how many you currently have, how many in reserve, and how many are currently wounded. Okay, so based on that, guys, you can also see how much their stats are, what their skills are, and gold is used for skills, as well as how much resources it costs to make just one of these. Okay, so keep in mind, guys, you have to stay on top of this, and you'll have to constantly refresh. On top of your barrack space also shows you how many you can have until you max out. So I can have a total of 340 commands before I can't have any more. In order to see how much commands a thing costs, you can actually check them out right over here, and it'll tell you exactly what their per command point, right? So you get, for every one command, you get 100 of these units. So keep that in mind, guys, when you are building this up. Okay, so let's move on here real quick, and let's go to what I need to do, for example. So for example, I need more of these guys. I'm going to build it. You can see down here, it shows you what resources these are going to cost me, and how much of the barracks space it does take. So I'm going to click on that, and then at the same time, you can see how long it's going to take to actually build these. So it does take almost 2 hours to build that. Now, tip is try to make them in smaller batches, guys. The smaller the batch, the easier it is to assign them to your commanders quicker, because the longer you have to wait, let's say you're looking for a battle real quick, it'll take much longer, right? All right, next up is going to be your settlement itself. The main thing you want to focus on, guys, is this page here. Your main hall, your barracks, your conscription post, your market, and then your training camp. Your training camp is super important because it gives you more command points, which allows you to command more armies. And then the rest of them are just for resources. And then your main hall will also drive these sections here, which allows you to recruit certain units. And the higher in the tier units you go, guys, the more resources, but the more powerful. So your goal, guys, is to try to get this section up as fast as you possibly can, and then move on to these and level up your units as quick as you possibly can. So this is where you're going to be spending a lot of your resources and time anyways. So that, guys, is essentially your settlement. Keep in mind, you can't actually build something and then if you want to like advance it and make it go quicker, you can do that by using like these speed trinkets here, right? The speed up right there, as you collect them through the game. All right, so again, focus on getting your main hall, your barracks, your conscription, your training camp, and your marketplace up as quick as you possibly can. Focus on these as well while you're there, and try to move along and get these up and get the tier 2s at bare minimum as fast as possible, and then move on to tier 3s when your ring is at least level 25 plus. All right, guys, those are the tricks that I wanted to talk to you about and the tips. That's the advice that I have for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will create additional tips and tricks. The one thing I did want to tell you guys, and this might shock you here, okay? So there are events in this game. These events are going to be available to you as a player. The one thing I want to talk about though real quick, focus on the events, but keep this in mind. There is a season to this game, okay? So if you click on target, all right, under the leadership place, and you click on info, I want to let you guys know what happens. This is season 1 and the duration is several months, all right? After the season, if you click on that button, you will see here things will change. After the season's over, your commander level will go back to 0. The reputation will stay though, the commander respect will be retained, but all the levels will go back down. Your equipment will retain, items will retain, and friends will retain. But the things that will not retain anymore, all your lands will be reset, all your resources reset, your ring of power completely reset as well as the way it looks, your structures are completely gone, your unit types are completely gone, and your warband will be reset. So keep that in mind, guys. This is going to be a big part of the game, and you can also change factions, okay? So keep in mind, it is a season-based game. If you're not into that, this may bother you. If you're okay with it, then hey, welcome to the game. But seasons do end, everything has to come to an end with it, and then you guys have to regroup and revamp again based on that. Alright guys, this is Payne. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any further questions, let me know, and I'll definitely discuss it with you. But that's about it. Have a good one. Take care.